Hi there. Greetings from my little office here in sunny Marbella. It's still the middle of winter, but I'm sat here sweltering away, so if I take a sip of water, which I basically, as I start to talk, I realise I need, you'll have to please forgive me. I want to talk to you today about a subject that seems to confuse a lot of people when it comes to training, effective muscle building training. How often should you change your routine? Some people think there is just one way to train, and obviously if there's only one way to train, you can't really change your routine very often. And the classic bodybuilding way to change one's routine was, oh, you change the exercise. And I fell into this trap for years and years and years and years and years. The other extreme is to try to change your routine all the time. From workout to workout, you change your routine. You might buy a few muscle magazines or see different things on the internet, and every few days you go, oh, that's a good idea, and that's a good idea, and that's a good idea. Both of these approaches are wrong. I'm not going to go into all the details of all the various different variables that count towards the progress that you can make when training, but you have to just think, just very, very quickly, you have to think what we're trying to do when we're going into the gym to build muscle, even to get stronger. We're stimulating an adaptive response, right? You stimulate an adaptive response by stressing a muscle or stressing your nervous system or something like that. Now, if you continually impose the same stress, what is going to happen? Well, eventually you're going to get your positive adaptation, and then your body doesn't need to change anymore because you're just doing the same thing repeatedly. It's like a callus. Most of you who lift weights, who don't wear gloves, I was going to make a derogatory comment about men not wearing gloves, but I thought better of it. About men wearing gloves, sorry. Most of you who don't wear gloves will have calluses like I've got here. Your calluses build up over the course of a few months. I mean, it's been so long, I've had mine for so long, I can't remember. But they don't keep building up because it's the same, it's the same amount of friction, the same amount of pressure, it's holding the same thing. So your calluses are going to build up to some point, and they're not going to build up any further. Makes sense, right? So if you do the same workout repeatedly, well, after a while, your body gets used to it. So what we need to do is we need to think about manipulating the variables. Now this is for another video, but think about these variables. There's the sets, there's the repetitions, there's the tempo. And within tempo alone you can vary it nigh on infinitely. There's exercises, there's rest intervals, there's frequency of training. That's all before we've even got to the things that people think about normally, which is load, right? Weight, manipulate weight. So all of these variables have a role to play in different adaptive responses, because obviously we all know you can use weight training for body composition, you can use weight training for bodybuilding, you can use weight training as more of an endurance training tool, you can use weight training as a relative strength tool, all of which require an emphasis on different aspects of the variables that I've just discussed. So if you take all that on board, should you never change your training routine? Well, I hope you realise that no, right? Never changing your training routine is wrong. But also, if you change your training routine too often, you don't get the opportunity for the right adaptive response because your body doesn't know what to adapt to. So you have to find the sweet spot. Now, what some people teach is you change your routine every 3 weeks. This is what Charles Poliquin will say. But again, with Charles, I know Charles very well, it's a generalization. Does he think everybody should change their training routine every 3 weeks? No. So he thinks a guy like me, with 20 plus years experience, I mean, I'm never going to argue with Charles when it comes to working out the frequency of training. There's some aspects of strength and conditioning Charles Poliquin is, well, in my experience, better than everybody else, that's for sure. Someone like me who's been training for 25 plus years needs to slightly change my routine each and every time. Slightly. Don't need to make wholesale changes, because even with my training age, if I jump from here to here to here, from workout to workout, my body is going to get confused. I'm speaking in simple terms, obviously. I'm not going to really be able to get the positive adaptations that I want. If you've got a beginner, well, beginners need to build intermuscular coordination before they do anything else. So you need to learn the movements. It takes a while to get everything set in. Your nervous system needs to get primed. All of which before you really start to look at damaging muscle fibers with a particular exercise. So beginners should go for longer. So you've got a continuum that basically says, that the more experience you've got, the more often you train, the more often you change your training routine, the less experience you've got, the less often you change your training routine. Can I give you an easy answer on this? Well, in training, my answer for all this stuff is always it depends. So it depends on the individual circumstances. But I can sort of give you an answer. And it's basically this, is if you do the right thing, if you're serious about your training, and you track your progress, you track your gym performance, you can keep doing the same routine so long as your performance improves. Now, of course, we have to take in other factors about performance improvement, recovery, sleep, nutrition, all that sort of stuff. But you've just got to. Sometimes you've got to go, okay, I take these as a given. All things being equal, if performance is improving, and you are enjoying and mentally stimulated by your routine, you can milk it. And you know what? If it takes you a year, who gives a damn? And you enjoy the routine, stick to it. I often used to, when I would train early stage personal training clients, I would have like an ABC workout 3 times a week, ABC. And for the first 6 weeks, they'd do A, Monday, B, Wednesday, C, Friday. So it's the same. And they would make great progress, and we could probably have kept that up for 12 weeks. I would change it at anything from the 4 to 6 week range, depending upon basically how bored or how interested they were. But also, quick lesson for personal trainers here, how bored or interested I was. Because eventually, if you've been doing the same thing all the time, you lack the mental stimulation. And mental stimulation is also very important to getting the most out of a training routine. So I hope that answers your question. Training frequency, in a nutshell, should be, am I making progress? If you are making progress and you are still mentally stimulated, stick with it. When that progress starts to taper off, so in other words, if you have a workout, you've got 7 exercises in a workout, and you got by 1 rep on 1 set, and everything else stalls, and nutrition, recovery, everything else has been on point, it's really time to change. But if you've hit small PBs, small individual PBs, remember a PB can be reps, less rest, longer tempo, longer time of detention, whatever it may be, right? It doesn't have to be just about weight or repetitions. If you hit some decent PBs, then you're positively adapting to that routine. Keep going. Keep going. It's not a precise science. I might get lynched for saying that. It's a combination of art. It's like an artisan craft being a trainer. It's a combination of art and science, and it's always about looking at the data that you get. And the data that you get is vital. So recording your workouts. Look at the data that you get. Decide based on that data, what do I do next time? It's this very, very simple lesson. All these lessons that I try to give you on these videos, they're relatively simple. They're relatively straightforward. But you've got to do them. Blah, blah, blah means nothing. Doing action action is everything. Okay, so this is Nick Mitchell. Train hard, train smart. If you want to subscribe, there's a button somewhere. Please subscribe. Any questions, sections below, please ask me those. Over and out.